All right, welcome back. This is a tutorial on how I put together the wall structure for a new city that I'm building. So I'm building another city for my D&D campaign, a city in the desert around a lake. So as you can see here, I've already sort of set up my lake outline. That took me a couple tries to get something that I like, but I kind of like this pattern. And then using the path tool, I just went out and drew a bunch of kind of quick sketch black lines where I thought I want my walls so that I don't have to, design as I go. And as you can see here, I'm trying to decide if I wanted to use some of the other structures for my gatehouses. The gatehouses in the desert pack were a little bit too big for me, so I decided I'm just going to use these simple towers to make my gatehouses. And I'm just going through using these wall segments and these tower segments, trying to build out the walls, roughly going along the guideline that I made, trying things out here. You can see here, at first, I'm usually a little bit finicky and I'm trying to make sure I get everything in the right spot. As I get tired, I stop worrying so much. But I'm trying to cap off all the ends. Any of the parts where I have overlap where it looks a little bit awkward, I'll try and put a little tower there. Of course, in these lateral connections, I try and make them as close as possible so I don't need to spam towers everywhere. You only want them where they kind of seem reasonable. But I wanted this city to look kind of natural in its formation. That's why I've got these curves and such in the wall. Well, not really curves, but different angles and whatnot. I have to fight my own urge to make everything super symmetrical, and everything looks pretty. Certainly, some cities are going to look like that, but I think most natural cities that grow over time are going to have a little bit more awkward shape. That's why I'm also not super worried when I put down my walls if they don't line up perfectly, because I imagine these were built by actual folks, and actual folks make errors too. You can see here I didn't get my walls lining up, so I went back and decided to make that one a little bit shorter. And even though it didn't line up perfectly, I just plopped a tower right on top there. And again, as I mentioned, that's sort of my strategy. Every once in a while I zoom out, make sure it looks fine. And as you saw there, I was saving. Make sure you always save. And luckily Inkarnate will remind you to save. Every time you do about 100 changes or so, it'll say, hey, don't you want to save? You'll notice here I'm trying to save a little work by doing a cut and paste. If you're interested in doing the cut and paste with some segments that you've already got, I recommend grouping them together first, then doing the cut and paste. That means if you want to rotate them, you will rotate them as a group instead of each segment, which is usually not what you want. I do that a couple times, but to try and encourage my creativity and not just cut and paste one same segment over and over again, I try and redo my segments. It gives it a little more natural flavor. What you'll notice here is I went ahead and deleted some of those guidelines to see how the walls looked without the guidelines. And I kind of liked it, but I didn't like these shadows at the walls, and now the new walls I'm placing are having more shadows on them. But I'm not super worried about that. I didn't change that. You can actually change that to make sure that the new segments you're placing do not have shadows on them. You can see on the left-hand side there it says shadow with layer right now. That means it's going to put the shadow on the layer. You can also have shadow on object, which means it will put it on the layer and on the other objects in the layer. But I just wanted to switch mine to none. So at the moment it's on layer, but every once in a while when I want to take a look at what I've created, I just select all of the wall shapes. And you can do that whenever you have one of them selected. You click the little menu box there, and there's a little select menu item, and you can select all of the, there I did it, I just did it there very quickly. Of course I'm on 10 times speed on this time lapse, but you can just grab that little menu box, open it up, select all stamps from this set, or all stamps like this. You can get all of the ones that are that specific stamp, that one wall segment. I select all the ones from the set. That will grab all the wall segments that are out there, and then collectively you can just switch that layer tag on the shadow to none, and it will set all of them to none. So again, I'm really just repeating this process. Now I'm trying to spam. You'll notice I'm not being quite as artistic anymore. I'm just trying to lay out these wall segments. Now that I've become comfortable with how the look and feel is, and I know sort of the process, it goes a lot faster, and I'm just trying to finish off the walls. All right, we're almost done here. So thanks a lot for checking out this tutorial, and come back to see how I finish off my city of Aldeona in the next couple of videos. Thanks a lot for watching.